Only 5 players starting for Kerry tonight featured in the last Kingdom success against the Dubs 2 years ago. Mark Griffin, Paul Murphy, David Moran and Paul Gainey all started, while Killian Young came on as a sub. Kieran Donaghy captained that side. Tonight the honour belongs to Peter Crowley. As it happens, 5 of tonight's Dublin team played from the start in that tempestuous match in Killarney, while Brian Fenton, Eric Lowndes and Paddy Andrews were introduced late on. Corner forward Conor McHugh has begun to make his mark in the last couple of matches, hitting a goal and 3 against Mayo just 2 weeks ago.
Tús Cora mar sin agus an atmosphere dína bhí teachtasteach an teoigh leabhar sé cehar inniu. Agus kicks here Kerry. Hanson Bulterai agus Arnoy is stochagur ligge black clear bhealach go nimúí ahananta nachhfuil gimmert fós ach tá sé sin fír chumá a gás Kerry. Imróí gortathe agus Arnoy imróí na grócach cóáirteachas le siú treis an action ar an é. Cynnydd Silva. Agus Jack Barry Farlar Parker go trasna. Sean O'i Vinter orna déna is bheith faideach mar go míon balle cosantóirí os a góir. David Moran go Ryan Trinnish. After Peter Crowley. Captain of foreign agus Peter Crowley. Chéad score na híthe sin forza. Ag an bhfurin balle. Trastanish go dtí Taig Morley. Túsnís fearcóir agus well beidir go sunkin beagin sin fáteach Taig treistó agus Kevin McCarthy took an talón cicáilte go sciúpaí Kevin Mach. Paul Gainey fear a daingan sin iúirt Vishnu le Gainey lena chitóg ach Ciarán Crane stór chomhlínig Paul Gainey. Agus gá cholín ar chlár na scóir Kerry. Is that ní cúlín éisce bhín sin. Brendan Keeley go gimach do Lorna Parkett sin sí harasta legus tá sí fátanis ag Eric Lowndes tá seo éifritach nar henchar nonsaí. Tá sí fósaigh Lowndes go roiige siú a Conor McHugh is Bert Speidir nachil chá handal sin dramile Goibbrú go deas an chéad scór ó nimmert fáte Conor McHugh agus ní le cúlín amháin atrinis. Tá na cuairteoirí sástan seo Park Auslín de stack. Just kick on to Ryan Trent. Donnacha Welch. Trying to fótaige well. The foul enter Donnacha Welch is turned. Breiter Graham and shot the Marolet. Shot the Jack Savage in ish. We can all tell it. David Moran got to shot. Thought she fought David Moran. Thought counter shot. Thought Jalo. Kick Calcic Moran. Which she Cormac and kick Carrickagui get on. Well, she kick Carrickagui give us on. Thought Moran the gale of Nismuna kick Carrickagui. Ní bhí sé thaidáas. Seagan na rístan is pasáling isteach. Déitach kicks here a fátaige bhanam. Tá Brendan Keeley réich an kick hóigáil. Dhéanamh an neiretin gan na fórne. Teachta machnis gan kick an seo bóla déitar águr. Stephen Cluxner bhealach a hosa seo. Is go leor eile gan na cúlbáir is tíochtamach. So da Brendan is the kick Carrickagui tá sí sin díreach will she Crane tá sé Crane on kick ag an goal bar. Ó choling Aris Barry Kerry ríist. Kieran Kilkenny agus scrúdú beag curtha ag éadach Yandín seo tá sí strócaí an róthir teochanis ag Shane Carty. Ósa Shane Carty sin tá sé tucha chun talón ag Kevin McCarthy. Agus play kicks here Dean Rock. Agus corta buí spáinte bhúd tharla níos trúisci cheapan. Sean Chanson Dean Rock agus uirnta kickáil an John Tala uirnta eile óna lábha tá seach a Crane céine. Agus ríist eile tá siad cortham. Zachar iad seo a scara óna chéile. Cégur lábhan ochtarí black líre blinta beag an nuas. Kerry teachtarí sin is. With Gargamag le hama agus black líre treis éilúide a rách an tosa tá duine go imróí Kerry. Sínteach dana muid nimmerts. Kerry teachtarí sin is. Paul Gainey tá contra John Gainey tá Jericho an táhail de Cluxton. Currahar and Trust on the goal bar. Run the dinner with Darmad or Kechomach. A talk Cluxton is so what's irritating. It was Leirish and China. And we're all kinds of winning kicking them off. I mean, they get a Rinsha Har bar and Janish and Sturu Har of Raston. Arshin Cover Meglahama. Shellafati Blackley reached. Kirish Lonely Contain and Jennings and Shellafati Rashaka. Paul Murphy go to watch here. Kagandi Verhenio, Imrish here, David Moore and Trowelish, far more loader. Augustin Kerry the River Huntsy chop. Stephen O'Brien and Ish, Gail Ochin, O'Kean O'Sullivan, is Escation the Yenana. This the Rona Yen, actually Paul Gainey, Ish Gainey, classic Yassic Gainey, Tashi Fosega, now Tasha Fibru, Tashi Shin kick out to Paul Gainey, Chin and score as far as the Feckogan and Chonoch. Coolly neat to Faradangan. The Oberlid Yenega. Runishan Obershin, Runshan Obershin Goma. Kerry reached. Adrian Spallan. That's an example Noah. Kick out just sheer again. Jack Barry. Kerry head fight up to David Moran. One Trish Elo Chano Michael Darren McCauley Tashi Fossey Dave Moran Colin or Huyulut Egge Howlo Hogs Ashen Denta Egge Varlar Park August 3 holding Ars Barnisha Kerry. This is our roll up Derricher. Wasn't Risho Rovli and Doubles. Egg Blackley. Kick all and kick out to Jackson Sposs and Chin August really Hale top. Most of the Oli Kerry and Chosa Darla. He didn't score first Amshire Egg Blackley. So that's Stephen O'Brien in ish. O'Brien Tush Eluштach. Tashi forced against on Chelvin Kevin McCarthy. Coolin Quivin McCarthy. How long that Shin Gadevan Corara Trust on again. Agzinish. Kerry Coolin got Aris Power. Egg Fair Eamon Fitzmaurice. Over watching Stephen O'Brien can score a row. Reached a couldn't slow me hostages. Slow on Dahiv me hosta. Lord of Tardo Chogni Vin Leros and Limiter Tamar Fad. Luckily a chat to Rishanish. Agzonti contra Generation Kurt Trassa to the Conor McHugh. Chatter McHugh. Oh, Bullet Cheat, she stopped here Lina. Chatter Cole. Oh, Fenton has got to trust the general. Kerry nach Nyacha. She finished Jack the goal. On action we do now. By kick Siristach. Brandon was reached. McHugh with us. I shouldn't stop the Arlena again long Coley was or on the half Fenton and Gin. Near Honey Tide us now. By kicks here. It's a mal Honey plus a black clear Kaler Derry. On kicks here up Arechoma. He's chancing Dean Rock. As he Butchek Dean. Nish. Ball scoring Yikele and she had black clear. Dean Rock, Nish on 9 agree here. When Jack can't scoop with Trust in the park kitchen. Shellafossi black clear. So she'd fight a rash. Dean Rock Conor McHugh, Nish Butchel accused the Brogue McHugh, Butchel Jassic McHugh. Neil Chenach on Dara score on Emirates to Anchi a black clear chop. Shandavar Kele. Coolin Warnish, I don't know for you. Let's hear Internich is Blackley, Chapter Ashka, Train and Chop. So the Mac Manaman. Far of Rish Cree Kiri, Minicalor. Michelle Fosaka, Ryan Fenton. Manaman reached. She Fosaka at the Tyke Morley, you're a stop of her lesh. Ono Garrett, Chaftanish, Ono Garrett, Tatukish Jacker Bork, August Taw. Keracholi, Nikele, Anchi Blackley and Chop. Agus tá siad corham agus aine cheapgur á rihan ráis de Kerry well dul mór Tad agus spáil Johnny bhíon riamh nar a hagan the cunda heisio lena chéile Kerry teachtar ríist to the Barry John Kane hard at Traston on over Stephen O'Brien agus Kerry slowly chun Kane ríist Peter Crowley bhí an Thompson Malishka David Moore na teachta mach ríist. Barnes Lewis in the fórne. Through the Darren O'Sullivan in ish. Sprawl is shot pass. Shell Fósaka. Kerry Faideach, tá siad coineáil sell fanna go dtí úsí deis a donna go bhfuil inis. Deis a donna go bhfuil, punt go skippi donna go bhfuil, punt a críneag donna go bhfuil agus inis. Gá chólín go Aris Barry, Kerry ríis as muid a dridir med ród dere. Kick sír mach mar sinnig Paul Murphy, tá muid an am chúteamh gortaí ní éiteach mar an am an fáca. Kick trasta Paul Murphy, ó droch kick bhí an agus a sell Fataresh. Ag blacklí McMahon bhfuil chance bháin eile ag blacklí. Tá siad a teachta ríis, Fenton. Trasta go dtí Philly McMahon. Tá Philly an scóráil dinta go hána canse titim Trasta an cúil. Tá sí fáte trinse de McHugh, Sean McHugh tá Mannion atá, Paul Mannion agus tá siad chorm a gretá. Fír Ráin an am chúteamh gortaithe. Scór an chorm a fáte ag Paul Mannion. Dá blacklí. Tá sé hart chorm an seo.
Fanigi Linger GAA bio, beg book fighty on Givement in the
contest.
Kerry certainly put up to us today, but I thought the boys showed good control, good composure, played our traditional style of football, and we got a point in the end. We were looking for 2 points, got a point, and we'll go home half satisfied.
Eamon, you had that game won, I thought.
Yeah, I don't think you ever think that against Dublin. They're that kind of team. They always keep going until the end. They're battle hardened, and throughout this run that they've been on, they've shown that in the closing stages of games they're very good. So we didn't think we'd the game won until the final whistle was blown, and when it was blown, it was a draw.
And I suppose on the occasion that was in it, a draw was a reasonable result on the night. And Colin O'Rourke, I know a lot of Dublin fans were looking forward for weeks and weeks to heading down to Tralee for this particular occasion, Paddy's weekend and so on. Were they rewarded for the journey?
Oh, absolutely, and it's a great idea, these Saturday night games under lights. Club players, county players always love the idea of a Saturday night match and they have Sunday off. And it started off a fairly fractious affair, but it really was, there was a great second half of football, hard hitting, good scores, a great comeback by Dublin, and it ebbed and flowed near the end. And I suppose Paul Murphy won't want to see that free again that he took, but it was Dublin really went after to hold on to their record, and Kerry might say we weren't wanting to beat them for the record, but I'm sure their old record, it was a bit like being in Lansdowne Road yesterday. I was there, and people would say it wasn't about beating England, but of course it was about beating England and stopping them in their tracks, and it was a bit like that with Kerry. They didn't want Dublin to take the record that Kerry team from the 30s had, but Dublin showed a bit of steel to get a point out of it.
They did, and I take Colum's point, Mossy, but at the same time, Dublin, I suspect, will be happy to be going home out of that game with a point in the bag.
Absolutely, when you're 2 points down going into, and the clock's going into the last few minutes, and they showed great composure in those last few minutes, when Kerry went that second point up, when Donegal Walsh kicked them two up, they really did, they didn't panic, they worked another score, they worked a good point, and then, okay, they benefited from Paul Murphy's misplaced pass, but they really showed good decision making at a key time. They did.
We heard Ger Canning say in the interview there to Eamon Morris, he thought that they had the points in the bag. But you've spoken to me about what you felt Kerry's indiscipline at times, which cost them a few scores. Yeah, just when you look over the course of the game, and it was, it was a very tight contest. And given Dean Rock is arguably the best free taker in the country, and Dean had 12 shots at goal last night. And a lot of the frees Kerry gave away, they're in silly situations, like Michael Darrow was going through there. There's 4 Kerry players around him. You see some of the tackles. Conor McHugh isn't really going anywhere, trying to go down the line. And this is very frustrating for Eamon Fitzmaurice and the Kerry defenders, and it's something they're going to have a look at. Dean Rock kicked 9 points from frees last night, and he kicked some excellent frees, particularly into the wind. Again, Paddy Andrews going away from the goal here, no real danger, scoreable free, and Dean's going to punish them there again. And it was consistent throughout the night, 12 frees, and some of them, he would have Davy Byrne here coming in along the end. I'm not really going anywhere, silly push in the back, again, guaranteed score for Dean Rock. So it is, when Kerry look back and review the tape and look into next week, it's something, Paul Flynn, late hit, and where the ball lands, again, into the wind, nothing really happening there, and Eamon Fitzmaurice will certainly look at that this week. In a game like that, Colin, where it was tight between the two sides, obviously it's always a big advantage. As the game is going on, if you can refurbish what you've got out in the field. Yeah, well, Dublin have the strongest panel by far in the country, and
With 10 minutes gone the second half, I think Jim Gavin started to sound the bugle and bring on all the heavy guns. The kick-out strategy for Stephen Cluxton wasn't working into the wind, and then he decided he was going to lamp it out there and let them fight for it. And Paul Flynn came on, and one of his first acts was to grab a brilliant ball, and of course they could bring on Owen O'Gara, and Kevin McManaman came into the game, and he made a huge impact on it as well. So they were also able to bring on Cian O'Sullivan, and Bernard Brogan came on at the end, and Paul Mannion then scored the equalising point. So like, there's not too many counties with that sort of armoury. Now, of course, in another while, most of those will be starting, but they still are going to have a huge backup. And when you have somebody like, as Mossy was saying, Dean Rock to kick the frees, it gives them a huge advantage.
Yeah, it does. All right, lads, thanks for that. Now, next to another big game from last night. Now,